Hello, we got an emergency here, and I have a white female who's on the ground. Appears that she may have fallen and tripped.
I'm telling you, it is really scary. I'm really scared of going down that place because what oh crap. All right. Purple. Feels fucking scary, dude.
Some camping encounters begin with something small that feels wrong. In Yellowstone, a massive figure slowly emerged through the fog and deeper into another forest. Strange children's voices eventually led investigators to clothing hanging from a tree. If these were warning signs, how far would you keep going? Recorded in December 2014 and later uploaded by the YouTube channel Sasquatch Mafia. This disturbing video was taken inside Yellowstone National Park in cold, heavy fog. Dense mist blanketed the landscape, visibility remained poor, and the last evening light turned the distant trees into dark silhouettes behind them. Several grazing animals were visible, quietly eating from the ground. Their calm behavior made the setting seem normal, even with the cold weather, wet air, limited visibility, and the approaching darkness. Then, an unusual shape emerged from the fog. For a brief moment, movement within the mist created the impression that several figures were nearby. Dim forms appeared for seconds beyond a clear view. Yet, only one shape came into sight as the others seemed to fade back into the haze. The figure continued forward at a slow, steady pace. Its frame looked large, broad, and unusually heavy. Given the freezing conditions and dense fog, the idea of a person traveling through the area that way seemed difficult to account for. Could this have been a human shape altered by the fog, or was something stranger moving through Yellowstone that evening? On June 8, 2026, YouTuber Dawson Taylor ventured into the isolated ridges of the Appalachian Mountains. He was accompanied by the creator known as Dead Appalachia, while they investigated the ruins of Corpsewood Manor.
We are out here in a storm. It is raining right now, it's thundering. I'm here with the Appalachian man himself, Dead Appalachia. You guys have all told me to come investigate with him. I reached out, he said let's go, and he brought me out to one of the creepiest locations in the Appalachian Mountains that I've seen yet.
A storm was approaching the region, and rain started soaking the stones of the abandoned structure. The castle had been built from 45,000 handmade bricks, and belonged to Dr. Charles Scudder, a Satanist who withdrew from modern society before later being murdered on the property. The history of the site is strongly tied to violence and occult activity. Scudder was also believed to have painted an image that predicted his own brutal death months before he was shot. Today, the nearby forest continues gradually reclaiming what remains of the burned and crumbling residence.
The story begins on a freezing winter afternoon in December of 1976. A highly respected pharmacology professor named Dr. Charles Scudder walked away from his comfortable tenure at Chicago's Loyola University, auctioned off his possessions, and left modern civilization. When he left society, he brought his longtime companion, Joseph Odom, and their two mastiff dogs. Dr. Scudder loaded up a camper and set his sights on the dense, isolated ridges of the Appalachian Mountains. They traveled down an overgrown logging road until they came to a halt next to the skeletal remains of a horse. They dubbed the trail the Dead Horse Road, but the locals now call this area Devil Worshippers Mountain. This is their new home. Using only manual tools, they laid 45,000 bricks to construct a 3-story castle.
As night fell across the ruins during Dawson's investigation, the mood began to shift. They positioned equipment on crumbling foundation and waited. Almost at once, the flux device activated, indicating that something had moved within its range, even though the surrounding woods appeared empty.
Just to start out here, well, that was quick. Is there somebody standing there? Dude, that's what that is. This is the first time I've ever gotten that. That little beep you heard, sometimes the big beep is usually meaning that there's a temperature fluctuation, and green, it means it got slightly colder. I guess we could check if there was a bug on it.
I don't see nothing.
No.
They continued their investigation with the Estes method. Luke remained blindfolded while listening to static, trying to serve as a channel for potential communication. Through the white noise, a voice was reportedly heard clearly and identified itself as a demon.
When I do the Estes, I talk real quietly. I just want to make sure people can't hear me. That's so loud, there's no way.
Keep moving.
Is that what you're trying to do, is get us to go from place to place, keep moving around here? My name...
Okay.
Okay. My name is Dawson, that's Luke.
Okay.
Okay. Are you the dark entity? The demon?
Yes.
The experience soon became much more intense. Dawson abruptly sensed that something was positioned directly behind him and above his shoulder in the darkness. He described the feeling as purple and overpowering, along with a strong pressure that ultimately caused them to stop.
So that there is no confusion, can you just say stop? And I'll end it. I promise. I'm serious, I will. Tell him to stop. I feel like
Motherfucker.
I feel like something's standing right behind me, guys. And it
Purple.
feels fucking scary, dude. I have full fucking goosebumps. Felt like something was like just over top of me. And then I heard something.
Private.
Then something much more physical came from the nearby forest. Gunshots suddenly echoed through the trees, shattering the quiet of the mountain.
I think that was just a branch falling.
That wasn't you?
No. Hold on, let me turn.
Did you hear those gunshots?
Yeah. I want to see if that was caused by a squirrel or not. There ain't nothing up there. Probably just branches from the water. It happened a couple times when I was here.
So we just heard a branch fall down. We also just heard gunshots in the distance.
Dawson and the others decided not to stay long enough to learn who had fired them. They rapidly collected their equipment and left the location. Paranormal equipment can sometimes respond to environmental shifts, radio interference, or nearby electronics, meaning unusual readings by themselves cannot prove a supernatural presence. But together with Dawson's physical response and the gunshots, what do you think was actually happening near Corpsewood Manor that night? On October 17, 2024, Mike OK posted a video covering one of his unusual travel experiences. His YouTube channel follows his trips around the world as he explores remarkable places and records what happens along the way. For this adventure, Mike chose to spend the night on the Great Wall of China.
Right, we are in the town of Shijiazhi, quite literally in the middle of nowhere, and there's no one here. So if my calculations are correct, the Great Wall of China is that way, about an hour and a half hike. Well, for your safety, don't go beyond this point. I think that, I don't know if that means this way. This is the way I want to go. This is the way I'm going. I haven't seen a single other, I saw that one car drive past. I haven't seen a single other person here.
The area around him appeared deserted, with no people visible for miles. He expected that isolation to continue for the rest of his visit. After walking farther, Mike learned why nobody else was around. The section of the Great Wall he was exploring had been closed to the public. Even so, he continued with his plan to camp there while trying not to attract attention.
We've officially hit our off-road section. According to my maps, it's this way. I don't know what this means, but probably says stay the fuck out. This is actually so much tougher than I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I was expecting.
Mike eventually reached the wall and started climbing. After spending time exploring, he found a suitable spot where he could set up camp. The location also gave him a view of anyone who might approach.
So tonight I'm going to sleep in here, and then in the morning hopefully all this shit's cleared. So the sun's gone down, and this is pure isolation. It's dead silent. dead silent. And I can see nothing but just darkness around me. I always want to solo travel. I always want to travel alone until I wish that I wasn't alone.
For some time, everything stayed quiet. But later that night, Mike began hearing unusual noises somewhere nearby. Some of the sounds seemed like distant voices. Because he was alone in such an isolated place, his concern increased. Then he heard footsteps coming toward his campsite.
Dude, I know I'm in the middle of nowhere, but this is so sketchy. I keep hearing voices, like far away voices. I don't know, it's just scary. It's scary. Let's just wait for the sun to come up. Try to get a few hours sleep. Wait for the sun to come up. Okay, brother. Okay. You are sleeping? Sleeping here?
I will take a time lapse.
Take a time lapse. Oh, on the sunrise.
Yes.
What's your name?
丁海涛.
丁海涛. My name is Micah. Time lapse of the stars.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe soon the moon will come out.
I hope so. I hope the moon will come out for you.
Fortunately, the person approaching was not a threat. It was another man carrying camera gear. He had traveled to the area to photograph the sky and create a time-lapse of the stars. The encounter turned out to be a coincidence. Both men had selected the same remote section of the Great Wall on the same night. Nothing dangerous happened, but the experience showed that even secluded places may not be as empty as they seem. At night, quiet surroundings can make footsteps and voices sound much closer than they are. Even when you think a place is empty, it may not be. What would you have done when the stranger arrived? Could you remain calm if a silent stranger seemed closer each time you turned around? On a deserted Florida street, a flickering light was only the start. Would you keep recording or leave right away? This incident happened on the night of February 21st, 2018. Chris was walking through a quiet area of town in Florida while filming for his YouTube channel. At first, everything seemed ordinary. The sidewalks were deserted and only a few dim streetlights lit the road. Then, a light inside an alley started acting strangely. It went completely dark before switching back on as Chris walked past. According to him, the light had never behaved that way before.
She has to run because it's not as dangerous, but it is dangerous at the same time because you never know who's watching you from here. And what the freak? You guys saw that? You guys saw that, right? What the? You guys, I know you guys just saw that, right? I kept blinking. What the hell? And it never does that. Look, it just went out. It just went out. It doesn't do that at all. Oh my gosh, you guys. Turn on. Let me see if it turns on. Will it turn on for me? What the heck is going on? You can see it has a little light into it too. Right there.
Later, Chris saw a man pacing back and forth in the distance. The stranger repeatedly glanced toward him and moved in an unusual manner. Then he abruptly vanished from sight. Moments later, Chris saw him again, except this time the man was much closer.
That I have never figured out before is that you could drive go-karts on the street. To me, I think that's pretty dope because I'm gonna get a go-kart and I'm just gonna just drive on the streets. Because the last time I saw over here was like a go-kart and the guy turned it on. It was so loud, you guys. It was so loud. Oh crap, I have to go back to this creepy place. I'm telling you, it is really scary. I'm really scared of going down that place because what? Oh crap. Alright, there's this guy that's walking back and forth. And I saw him, he was just talking to himself. It was really weird. And he kind of looked at me. I was going like this. I saw the guy at first, but as soon as I it's crazy. There's the guy. That was the guy that I was talking about. He was just walking from where where the lights were turning on and off. He was walking from there. I don't know what he's doing. That's creepy. Alright, I'm back.
Chris started believing the stranger might be following him. The man appeared near the edge of the camera frame, slowly swinging one arm back and forth. Nobody else seemed to be around, and the alley now felt darker and more disturbing. Chris headed toward home.
I can't see the guy. Yo, the guy disappeared. I can't see him anymore. Yo, that is weird. The guy disappeared. That guy just disappeared. Alright, you guys, I'm gonna head home right now because that's just freaking me out. I just got freaked out right now so bad. But I'm walking in front of that. Dude, it just turned on. It was completely off. It was off. Alright, you guys. What the hell is he doing? Dude, I think this guy is actually crazy. You guys, where's he at? Dude, he's right there. Right there. That's him. Look what he's doing. He's just moving his arm back and forth. What the hell? Yo, this place is creepy. This place is actually really.
As he walked beneath the streetlight that had gone out, it suddenly flickered back to life. The timing made him feel as if someone or something was tracking his movements.
Creepy. Alright, I'm gonna go home right now. I didn't even tell nobody that I was gone. But you guys, it was probably the light. Cause I swear, when I was walking towards it, just recently, the last time I was walking towards it, it was off completely. Like I was staring at it for a while. And then as soon as I went in front of it, that just like turned on. There was two people. It was that guy that was following me, and this other guy that was coming in front of me, that was like walking towards me. I'll tell you that right now. But anyways,
the stranger never said anything. He simply kept walking behind Chris until disappearing again. Chris still has no idea who the man was or why he followed him through the alley. A malfunctioning bulb could explain the flickering, and darkness can affect how distance looks. The stranger's repeated appearances are harder to dismiss. What would you have done if he continued getting closer? Far inside Nagaland, a group of explorers followed an isolated mountain trail and discovered something they never expected to encounter. The Salongsa Naga is an Indian YouTube creator who focuses on exploring unusual locations and camping in remote places. He often shares the history and stories linked to each destination, making his videos informative and interesting. In this video posted on November 16, 2025, the Salongsa and his group entered a thick forest in Nagaland for what seemed to be an ordinary hiking trip. However, the journey soon brought them to a discovery that made everyone uneasy.
सेफ्टी के लिए बस गन भी पकड़ा हुआ है नहीं होगा भाई थकान महसूस हो रहा है इसलिए थोड़ा रेस्ट करा है हम लोग भी और नदी का सहारा क्योंकि जंगल पूरा घना हो गया तो पूरा नदी उठ के जाना पड़ेगा हम लोग आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा तो पूरा जंगल काट के जा रहा है देखिए नदी का सहारा लेना पड़ रहा है.
The vegetation was so dense that the group needed machetes to cut through bushes and branches blocking their route. Because they were moving through such an isolated region, they also carried firearms for protection against dangerous wildlife. After walking for a long time, they eventually reached a river. From that point, the journey became easier because they no longer had to cut through dense vegetation with every step. Eventually, the group grew hungry and stopped beside the river for food. While taking a break, they noticed something high on a nearby mountain that drew their attention.
Oh, यहाँ पर हनीबी का घोंसला है. हनीबी का घोंसला शायद ऊपर में भी है, लेकिन यहाँ से दिखाई नहीं दे रहा. आसमान पूरा हो गया.
They sent up a drone to inspect several enormous beehives. During the flight, they also noticed a trail that appeared to be used more often than anything else nearby. Curious about where the trail went, the group followed it toward the top of the mountain.
ना खराब तो नहीं है, मतलब आदमी लोग आने जाना करते रहता है यहाँ पर. नीचे में तो इतना अंधेरा था यहाँ पर. ओह ये है तो किस ओह ओ भाई पत्थर है. अंदर का नज़ारा दिखा देता हूँ. बहुत साफ है. ऐसा है यहाँ पर थोड़ा अंधेरा सा है. ये मेन शेड होता है, शायद यहाँ से अंदर घुसे. दिखाता हूँ हमारा लाइट वगैरह ठीक ठाक करके. आदमी लोग मेमोरी, अपना मेमोरी पूरा लिख के रखा हुआ है. बहुत आदमी विजिट किया हुआ है यहाँ पर.
There they found an old cave covered with names and messages written across the walls. They didn't know what the location was, but they continued farther inside. Deeper inside the cave, they suddenly discovered human bones scattered throughout the area. Without understanding the history, the scene could easily have appeared to be somewhere bodies had been hidden.
हड्डी तो किला क्या क्या चीज का हड्डी है भाई स्टिक लगा हड्डी है स्टिक लगा ये देखो खोपड़ी ये तो बहुत ही बड़ा है भाई ये पूरा भरा हुआ है यहाँ पे शायद ये पत्थर ऊपर से गिर के टूटाया होगा माइकी लास ना के अन्ना itu ye kine maiki la na mata la na.
After leaving, the explorers spoke with the residents from a nearby village. They learned that the remains belonged to local ancestors from the 17th and 18th centuries. According to the villagers, when someone died, the body was initially left inside the home to dry. The bones were later placed into clay pots and transported into mountain caves using ropes and ladders. An ossuary is a location where human bones are kept as part of a burial tradition. The site may look frightening to outsiders, but for the local community, it represented respect for their ancestors. How would you have reacted if you walked into that cave without knowing its history? On September 12, 2024, the YouTube channel Stay Haunted posted some unsettling footage from an investigation inside Baobab Forest. The location is regarded as one of the notorious paranormal sites in the United Kingdom and has been listed among the 5 most haunted places there. Stories tied to the woods include unexplained disappearances, druidic cults, and poltergeist activity. The group entered the forest hoping to find a rumored hidden altar. However, the atmosphere seemed to change soon after they stepped inside.
I think we need to get up.
Yeah, let's go up.
Which way we're going? Back the way?
Back the way so we know which way.
Right. Back in the forest again. My light's having a meltdown. I don't understand why it's flashing like that. Because it's fully charged. What? It's crazy. Yeah, my thing's died. Here, fully charged light and it's dead. What the hell, like? Oh, I don't know what this is doing.
Hold on. We still need to get out there, but we're checking them out where you are.
My torch is dead. Look at this. Fully charged battery, charge of 4 left, and it's dead.
Right. We're here.
Uh-huh.
I want to get to here. So the meat was out this tree line.
Yeah.
And then cut across, there's a big path there along the water.
Okay.
And investigate that building, and then the druid altar's maybe up behind it somewhere. Like further up the pathway.
Yeah.
But see, originally what I had planned was we came in here and walk along this path here. But me and you walked in here and
oh my God.
Yeah, walked way in that middle of the forest.
Jesus, that's crazy.
So we need to find that.
They quickly lost their way as familiar trails appeared to vanish. Fallen trees blocked sections of the forest in unusual patterns, making it difficult to determine which direction they had come from. Their equipment also started acting strangely. Flashlights flickered, and one fully charged device suddenly stopped functioning without explanation. As they moved farther into the woods, the group became increasingly disoriented. They passed a dam and an old wall, but those landmarks did not help them locate themselves. The forest seemed to pull them deeper inside while making every possible route out more difficult to locate. The situation grew even more unsettling when they repeatedly heard what sounded like children somewhere between the trees.
The little girl likes you.
The little girl! We hear children's voices.
Right here, you know?
Yep, I heard it.
Hello?
Right, everybody, we have now just went in to do an investigation in the pitch black in Baobab Forest. We're now hearing stuff.
What was that moving?
This is crazy. Oh my God, he's seen something move. There's not many people that can say that they've...
See up there where your torch is?
Yeah.
There's like a shadow or something just walked across and moved.
Shadow?
Yeah, like a shadow figure, like dark figure moved across there. Right where your torch is now.
Yeah, there. We're going to do a bit of an investigation because we just didn't want to leave because we couldn't find obviously the altar and everything, but we've had some crazy stuff happen already, like I tell you that. And even on the way here, mad stuff's been happening. So let's do this and get spooky.
set some stuff up.
He's just using the torch here to put the equipment out. Like, look at this here. Like, once when I turn around, as always, if you don't believe us, that's what I'm seeing right now. The camera's just like, nope. And cap all over there. There's cap all over there. There's a music box. Oh my god. This is crazy. I'm probably gonna have a sit down here.
Laughter, crying, and faint music carried through the darkness. A music box brought by the investigators also began playing on its own several times, seeming to respond after they asked questions. The group later reported seeing dark figures and hearing loud banging sounds around them. The most disturbing discovery came when they found small children's clothing hanging from a tree. They believed they had already passed the same location earlier when nothing had been there. Panic soon set in, and the group remained lost for nearly 2 hours before eventually finding their way back to the car. They never found the hidden altar. However, the host later acknowledged that the investigation had become dangerous far faster than expected, and the group felt as though something in the forest had discovered them instead. Darkness and fear can make similar trees and trails difficult to recognize, which could explain why the group became so disoriented. But what about the voices, the music box, and the clothing that seemed to appear afterward? Do you think they encountered paranormal activity, or did fear alter the way they perceived the forest? February 19th, 2026, the YouTube channel Marvelous Marv Fishing for Life posted a disturbing video recorded at Lake Lanier in Georgia, a location already linked to many dark and unsettling stories. Marvin had gone kayak fishing, and at first the trip seemed ordinary. A few minutes later, however, he found himself dealing with a situation that could easily have ended in tragedy.
Alright, I thought I heard somebody calling for help. Hold on for a minute. Is that somebody on the ground? Holy crap. Holy crap. Hello? 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 I think we got somebody down, folks. Hello? 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 Ma'am, are you okay? Stand by. Let me get help. Let me get help.
While paddling across the lake, Marvin heard a faint noise carried by the wind. At first, he could not determine whether it came from an animal or whether he had imagined it. Still, something convinced him to turn around and move closer to the shoreline. As he approached, he discovered a woman lying on the ground. She was barely conscious, having trouble breathing, and weakly asking for help. Marvin called 911.
Ma'am, do you have a name? Ma'am, do you have a name? Hello, we got an emergency here. I am at the Clark's Bridge, and I have a white female who's on the ground. Appears that she may have fallen and tripped, but she seems to be gasping for air. She's, ma'am?
Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give me the exact address? Are you on the Lake Road?
I am actually on land right now, and I need EMS quickly. I don't see that she's bleeding or anything like that. She's kind of gasping for air.
Okay, did you witness this?
No, I did not. In my kayak, and I thought I heard somebody screaming help, so I pulled up closer and I saw someone laying on the ground. Just relax. I got 911.
But you can see the Clark Bridge, correct?
Yes, I sure can.
From where you're standing. Okay, and you're at the boat ramp, correct?
I launched from the boat ramp and I started kayaking down what sounded like somebody calling from help.
Okay, let's go callback number, sir, just in case you get disconnected.
706. I got somebody on the way. Excuse me, ma'am? Ma'am, can you tell me your name? Okay, just relax, ma'am. Just relax. Just relax. Just relax. We got help on the way. All right, so you know where the Olympic Park is, ma'am? At Clark's Bridge? Where they do the kayaking? Okay, ma'am. All right, hold on. Where are you hurting? Don't move. Don't move. She has a rock underneath her and she's trying to move. Relax, ma'am. Relax. Hold on, ma'am. Hold on, ma'am. Hold on, ma'am. Ma'am. Okay, I think she just went unconscious. Hold on, let me see if I can. All right, no, she's back up. Ma'am, All right, we got people here, ma'am.
From the front of the Here you go.
All right, thank you. Did you get that, ma'am?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Any of y'all know her?
I do not know her, but
Okay. So she's conscious and she's trying to move. I think she's good right now in the recovery position, but I think something may be broken on her arm.
this is really off topic, but are you a YouTuber?
I am.
You like near bass kayak fisherman?
Yes, I do.
I see you all the time over here.
I appreciate it.
Thing, so I'm like,
Yeah.
For the next several minutes, he stayed beside her, communicated with the dispatcher, tried to keep her conscious, and called out for anyone nearby to help. The woman repeatedly slipped in and out of consciousness and could barely speak. At several points, it seemed possible that she might not survive. Paramedics eventually arrived at the location and transported her to the hospital.
Yeah. I'll just get off with 911.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, you just found her like this. You were just over there, and she was.
she was yelling for help.
Ma'am.
Okay. She was just coherent here a little while ago.
I need Lucas. I need Lucas.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
you're great for that. You really are.
No, I appreciate your help, man.
Yes, sir. I've been into fishing a lot more. I used to just go into that bridge and just stay on the dock area.
Yeah.
What do you use? May I ask, what's the best thing to catch bass and bluegill?
It depends on the time of day, the season, and whatnot. Like today, on a windy day like this, spinnerbait right now is what I was going to use. So glide baits are pretty decent, but right now, I was going to go spinnerbait all day. I left the boat ramp and was coming across. Yes.
You're gonna have to post that.
Yes.
You're gonna have to block some stuff out.
Yeah, I'm gonna block stuff. Yeah. So.
Not to use her or anything, but
Yeah.
be a lot.
Looks like she's gonna be all right. Like I said, I don't know how long she's been here.
With how she was responding, something might have been broken in there.
Right.
She just couldn't respond. Like, you know, when she talked, obviously it looked like it hurt.
She has some personal items over here. Looks like her phone, thermostat, and a lighter.
It was later revealed that she had suffered a stroke near the lake. According to information shared afterwards, she likely would not have survived if Marvin had not heard her and stopped to investigate. A stroke can quickly affect breathing speech and consciousness, meaning every minute can matter. Marvin could have ignored the distant noise, but instead he chose to check. Would you have done the same? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.